It's the December giveaways, plus we're going to talk about some of the myths when it comes to cholesterol. So excited for our show. A dancing snowman, and a Christmas tree. So we have, actually that's me in the costume dancing, it's my moves. And that wait, right here. There, and my Christmas tree right there. It's fantastic. It's snowing in studio. So anyways, thank you to our wonderful team that put all that together and everything. So you might see that pop on through a little bit through the show, so it's going to go in and out and stuff. So thank you for the team putting together all the fun stuff that we have all long. So he's going to clear it out now, and we're going to get back to our fun, great educational show that we're going to do today. But before we get started, like I said, December is one of my favorite times of year. Maybe because my parents were always big into Christmas and celebrating. I start decorating in October. It just brings some good cheer. And that being said, we've had just another banner year here at the company. And so we like to do for all of December is do our giveaways. So you can see right here, not a joke, take a look. We've been advertising it for a month. We have $100,000 the whole month of giveaways, from care to merchandise to supplements to test reads to everything. And today what we're going to do is we're going to do about $25,000 worth of giveaways today. And it's been exciting because we like to do these things on a regular basis to share and take care of people that are in need. Now, once again, we're going to get that to a second. But I want you guys to understand that it's all, just a great time for our people to give away. And if you stop in a bunch of offices, they're doing a bunch of giveaways too. And we're going to introduce right now, we're going to change up the order a little bit today. We're going to introduce our giveaway people today. As you can see over here, we have always our head journalist and one of our coordinators, Aaron Walton. Then Dr. Bryce there in the middle, and then my beautiful bride, Christy, over the festive that they have the look here. So morning, everybody. What you got going on?
A lot
over here, yeah. Awesome.
We have some amazing things. As you can see, we're going to be doing things a little bit differently, which gives you more opportunity to win. We are creating bundles. This week, we are focusing on the immune system and support. So all the things that are in the bundles are based on supporting your immune system. So we have things like astragalus, elderberry, echinacea caps, reishi, mushroom immune, camu, and then we have some merch. Some shot glasses, some wellness white socks, and of course, chocolate. Can't do it without chocolate.
That's right.
So very exciting. We're going to have more opportunities for people to win. We're making bundles out of all these things.
I will say the chocolate and the socks boost the immune system really well. So definitely make sure you guys get some of those. But we are on all the different platforms again today. We are on Facebook, Instagram, ADP, TikTok. So if you guys would like to win, as always, make sure you guys are engaging with us. Ask us questions. We have doctors all over monitoring the chat. We have people out here who want to help you guys. So also make sure you like the show and share it with others so that other people can get a chance to win as well. So Erin, what else are we giving away today?
Oh, I'm so excited. So one of my biggest blessings has been being a Wellness Way patient. So of course we're starting off the season with new patient appointments also. So be sure to comment. If you're interested in the immune support bundles, comment bundle. If you're interested in new patient appointments, this means somebody who is not already under Wellness Way care. Don't worry, we got stuff coming for you too in those bundles. Be sure to comment new patient, and we'll be interacting with you, going through. So excited to get this season kicked off, but as always, we have our Academy winner today. So our Academy winner has been around the wellness way for a little while. She's a 22-year-old female who loves learning, and she took herself actually off birth control when she was only 19 years old. Good on you. So she's been on a journey ever since to reclaim her hormonal balance and through researching the female cycle. She stumbled upon the Wellness Way content and has been fascinated and is excited for a chance to study with the Wellness Way. So welcome to the Wellness Way, Sierra Roseberry. Congratulations.
Nice golf clap. All right, congratulations. And remember, as you can see, if you do win, please go to giveaways@thewellnessway.com, email, all the good things there. But now, what I want to continue to do is this. We're going to do giveaways all through the month, and we're even doing giveaways during the week on certain things, because you notice I've been going live every single day. Now remember, we try to go live on the platform. Most of the time when I go live, I'm doing question and answer, plus we put out informational videos every single week, so we give you a ton of information. But for the whole season, as you can see on the slide right here, for 12 days, we're going to do our 12 days of deals. People will be able to go, and there's a QR code right there. You can get a discount on all of them. You can discount them at the office. But you see, I've been go over on December 5th, I went over elderberry. Yes, I went over kava. Today I'm going to pop on later today and go over California poppy. Tomorrow I'm going to go live and go over on grape. I'm going to go through the true need of these and why they're so important and what they have to do. And you can also get them for a discount on the store that we do have. So that being said, I'm going to continue to teach you guys. And if you notice when I go live, I try to give you the great detail of the bioactive components that exist within all these things and how they benefit the body and how they match up and what we need to do with them. It's been kind of cool because, speaking of that, as you can see, we had our book bundle that has sold by the thousands already. You can get 3 of the best-selling books. Now, if you look at our From Scratch cookbook came out, it's sold all over the world, and it's cool. That book is $49.95, but for Christmas, all the way through, these are the best Christmas presents. You can also get the I Disagree book and the I Still Disagree book for the exact same price of $49.95. It's great. There's a QR code down there. This is not a joke. I think it's one of the greatest presents that you can give your family is that cookbook. Yeah, my books are awesome. They really are. But anyways, I still like the cookbook the most just because it's something that's very practical that everybody can use. It doesn't matter what stage you start at. The one thing about the I Disagree book and I Still Disagree book, they're absolutely amazing. They go into detail of my story, care, how I developed everything, some good clinical things, some good motivational things, some good personal growth things. But the cookbook is definitely special. And that cookbook alone, without the other 2 books, it's $49.95. But you get all 3 books all the way through December. So use that QR code. Do those things and you can actually get that. It's one of the best presents you can get it. I had a lot of people message me, said, oh my goodness, my friend got me it for our stocking stuffer for St. Nick, which is kind of cool. It's pretty neat. I got an ugly sweater for St. Nick. It's a Trump ugly sweater, so it's even cooler and stuff. So it's like, not the Trump, like it's just got all the dancing ones, kind of fun. But that being said, guys, all the great things we have going on all December, all week long, you'll see us go live and do wonderful things with that. Now, just like I do every Saturday morning, and you guys see Aaron on a regular basis, I popped on my phone on the email, and you can go down and subscribe to our free email. You just got to go to our website, scroll all the way down, put your email in there. And for you guys that know this, I've been doing this for a long time. I do not solicit. I do not try to sell you anything. It's just pure great information. I have great investigative journalists that do that. And we know that you can just go there, put your email in there. It's really important. You'll get stuff on a regular basis. You also get this show recapped for you. But like I always tell you, the greatest thing on our website is if you go to the top right of the website, you can find the clinic button. Click there. You can see all of our wonderful doctors that are going to be there. Plus, you met some of our recent interns that will be going to different places in Virginia, in Nashville, and other places across the country as we have more dots that go up on that screen every single week. All right. So as we decided to talk about the things that we had going on with Christmas, I've been getting a lot of questions about cardiovascular issues. It seems like there's just so much information out there that people don't know what to do. You go to the medical field, they say that there's some major causal factors, and here they are. And if you ever think of heart disease in the medical field, they'll look at the number 1 factor being cholesterol. And then you watch some other videos from even doctors that are integrative, that were medical, and they leave the field, or there's other cardiologists and stuff like that, and they say, cholesterol has nothing to do with it. And then you see a little bit of a argument between both sides. Well, as you always know, like I said, I believe that the extremes have some points, but I'm more in the middle, okay? So what we're gonna do for our perspective today is we're going to cover cholesterol, statins over this whole month. Now, why? Because cardiovascular disease is still the dominant and number one killer in both men and women in the United States and mostly across the world. Yes, infections have a prominent thing about certain countries, but the vast majority of people across the world, both men and women, die from cardiovascular disease. So that's going to be our perspective for the whole month of December. Because why? Because I'll tell you right now, I believe there's going to be a lot of things that are done during December and really start in October, done during December that are going to be very bad for people's cardiovascular health. So I want to kind of talk about some things. We're going to set the basis. So all the next 4 weeks, we're going to build upon it. So am I going to be able to get through all the things that cholesterol take? Absolutely not. But for the next 4 weeks, I believe that if you listen in detail and study and research all the stuff I give you, by the time that we're done at the end of this series, and I might even go into January a little bit more of it when we get into no sugar. But what it's going to do, it's going to help your cardiovascular health, and you're going to be able to make some perspectives and some conversations with both sides. You go to medical and they're telling you that basically cholesterol is the closest thing to Satan, and you go actually on the other side to more natural, they basically tell you it's Jesus, and so it happens this. Okay, I'm kind of the guy in the middle, okay? It's like, and so I want to talk to you guys about that, and that's going to be our perspective today. So Kyle, let's get into that perspective. All right, so as you can see today from here, cholesterol and statins. You're going to find it funny. I'm not going to talk much about statins today. I'm going to give you a little idea of their concept behind it and talk about women's health, obviously, because there's some factors that are different when it comes to women, when it comes to men. So the idea is this. You're going to see these things play it out. We're going to discuss the overall generality of things, and then we're going to actually get into a little bit different when it does come to women and men over the next couple of weeks, because you have to treat them differently. And I don't mean from a doctoring standpoint, is that I'm a male, I got to do things different cardiovascular than my wife. Now, are there some similarities? Absolutely there are. But we're going to go into those in great detail over the course of time. But what I want to start is I want to start with the most basic thing. The most basic thing, because if we can just start with that and then we can start the discussion. And as we talk about these things, I just had to tell you, it's going to challenge some of the things that you're taught. Because once again, when you look at cholesterol in general, we have to start with the most simple idea and build from there, and let's build a great foundation from there, and then we can tell once again where people are using fear-mongering or on the flip side not concerned enough. Like I said, you're going to see me go this side to this side because the medical profession demonizes cholesterol, the natural field doesn't at all, and so therefore they demonize or they praise that way, and I'm like going, well, I think you guys have some both valid points, but I think once again I think that you're talking about the exceptions, not the rule in here. So let's go through and just see what cholesterol is. Here it is. Cholesterol is a type of lipid, a fat, that is essential for the body to function properly. Okay, let's stop right there. So I can understand the whole natural world when they talk about that once again. It's essential. It really is. It's so essential. And you don't have it, it's a bad day. Your body can't function properly. So if we look at everything in the human body that way, we need cholesterol. And we're going to get into it just a little bit, but you're going to find out the vast majority of cholesterol is not, coming from the outside sources. It's produced mainly in our liver. Now that floors people, you understand, because we perpetuate something bad, but you understand, it's one of our healthy lipids, one of our healthy fats that's essential for body function. Let's go on. It is a waxy, fat-like substance found in the cells of the body and in certain foods. So it's part of us and then also part of our food process. Cholesterol plays several critical roles, including, now come back here for a second. So I talked about it being essential and it being very critical, okay? They have several critical roles. So now you're thinking, Doc, it looks like you're more on this side than some of that. No, hang in there, okay? Hang in there. But just foundationally, it's like, because I'll watch doctors, preach to their patients and they'll come by us and said, my doctor says cholesterol is bad for you. I'm like, okay, so then ask them these things. Ask them about does cholesterol is it essential? Does it have, several critical roles within the body? Yes, and what's that word right after that? But. You're saying, yes, but. And whenever they say but, okay, now you know that guess what happens. So if they're over here, cholesterol's bad, but that should bring you a little bit towards the middle, okay? And yeah, cholesterol's bad, or cholesterol's good, but, and you're gonna see it on both sides that way. So let's look at the roles that it really has, okay? And I think this is really some of the essential parts. Functions, so proper function. Number one, cell membrane structure. Cholesterol is an integral component of cell membranes, helping to maintain the fluidity and stability. All right, so I want you to think about this. I want you to just take a look at your hand, okay? Just everybody take a look at their hand. Do you understand all those beautiful cells that looks like they're all put together? Do you understand that every cell membrane has a lipid, has a cholesterol component? Okay? If you wonder why the vast majority of your cholesterol is made by your body, is because it's part of our structure. So I want you to picture this. I want you to picture that, I'm surrounded by all these walls. Yeah, there we go, Kyle. I'm surrounded by walls, okay? I want you to imagine this. You can't see them, but guess what? In that wall right there, what you're going to notice is there's 2x4s there. No, Doc, you can't see it that way. There's 2x4s. Okay, so you look at a cell membrane, you can't really see cholesterol, but it's in there. It's an integral component of membranes, all right? So once again, now I know you guys are saying, hey, you're over here. Hey, you're over here, okay? No, just hang in there, okay? The idea is this, but it does, and it helps with fluid exchange and stability. Now let me give you an example. There are different types of lipids that exist within the body. For example, if you were to talk about, and I see this when it comes to the Mediterranean diet, which I think is a good diet, and stuff of that, not for everybody, but for a good chunk of people. But here's the opposite. I want you to think about this. If you notice that olive oil, which is a very, was a specific, fat, it's there. Oh my goodness, it's amazing. It's the best fats and stuff like that. Well, it's another good fat for us, but under room temperature. Under room temperature, guess what happens? Olive oil is a liquid, okay? Under room temperature, if you got like more of a saturated fat, it's more of a what? It's more of a solid. And the people say, well, there's your polyunsaturated, your saturated. Look at polyunsaturated is the best for you. Do you understand that if you didn't have a significant amount of saturated fats, you would be liquid under room temperature? Isn't that crazy? You would actually bleed the blob. And maybe we were when the evolution people say we came out of the ocean as a blob, maybe we were mainly olive oil. Who knows, okay? That was funny right there. I just made that up. That was good. But anyways, I don't believe in evolution. That's just me. But long story short, it makes no sense. So that's why when people are like, well, it's a waxy trans fat. No, listen, cholesterol has a factor. It's a great lipid, okay? Let's take a look at number 2. This, to me, has been my whole world, basically my whole career. Hormone production is a precursor for several hormones, including estrogen, testosterone, cortisol, things like this. Now, I've seen this too. And on the other side, you have this. It's like you have the docs are like cholesterol's horrible, and you don't need cholesterol for hormone production because each cell can produce its own cholesterol. That's not true. I love how they just grab onto one study and think that that's it. It's like you're telling me that every cell can produce enough cholesterol. False. False. Because you know why? Put the body under high stress very quickly, okay? Look at all the demands and changes and injuries and stuff like that. You look at a cell and says, oh, it has a cholesterol-producing pathway. Of course it does. And sometimes it's not sufficient to even keep up on normal demands, and that's why you can't repair cell membranes at a process. But see, that's the difference. See, they try to grab onto one little mechanism and be like, this is this. I'm like, no, you're kind of, once again, over-exaggerating. You're talking about the exception, not the rule. But let's take a look again. Helps you with estrogens. Now, ladies, really simple, not a joke. Your circulating cholesterol changes based on where you are on the cyclic pattern of your body. That means as estrogen change, as testosterone, as cortisol. Hold the phone. Cortisol can be released during a mental stressful event. So is there a demand that could be higher in cholesterol? Exactly. See, so therefore, maybe you have a higher circulating cholesterol because your body is under some level of stress, okay? And that you can see that all the time. Number 3, for its essential, here we go. Vitamin D synthesis. Cholesterol is necessary for the body to produce vitamin D when skin is exposed to sunlight. It's so essential. That's why if you look at some of the negative side effects of statins, and let's just call them effects, but they're very negative. And I want to call them side effects, but negative effects of statins, there is a process that's going to interfere looks like vitamin D deficiencies. So if you look at statins and what it does, you're going to see some interference with some of that process. But so far we're looking, okay, look at cell membranes, hormones, vitamin D. What's number 4? Here we go. Just even digestive issues like bile production. It helps the liver produce bile acids, which aid in digestion and absorption of dietary fats. So even to help emulsify, break down, and absorb your fats. So if you look at it this way, once again, you look at going cell membrane production, you're looking at hormone production, looking at vitamin D synthesis and production, you're looking at bile production for digestion, all things like that. It's extremely essential. But let's even go back to this, because this is one thing that when I want to address any kind of cardiovascular issue, let's look at just like a cell membrane. As you can see, this is just a structure. All right, and I took this from one of the research articles, just one. I read many of them that way through the years, but I actually just took one that was recent. And look at, you can see that within the kind of black bubbly aspect in white, you can see that there's cholesterol there. It's in both the bilayer of the lipid membranes, all right? And as you can see, there's other lipids, there's other proteins within that cell membrane, but it's a very integral part, and here's what it does. It's quite simple. Because it's a rigid ring structure, cholesterol plays a distinct role in membrane structure. All right, so let's come back here for a second, okay? I want you to think about this. Just from this alone, we know that we need this on a regular basis. So to demonize cholesterol, once again, I just don't understand where they're getting it. I really don't. Because as I'm going to show you that here, we're looking at cell membranes. Cell membranes exist all over, okay? And we look at cardiovascular. I'm going to give you a little prelude to this. But why is it that we have so much, plaquing within the heart, yet there's cholesterol there, there's membranes, but why don't we have a lot of plaquing in our fingers or on our skin or things like that, which can happen, okay? But why? Let's go back. Here we go. Cholesterol will not form a membrane by itself, but it inserts into the bilayer of phospholipids with a polar hydroxyl group close to the phospholipid head groups. And you saw from the diagram I had there from figure 12.2. Depending on the temperature, the temperature, because once again, fats, are stable at certain heats and some that are at other heats. Cholesterol has a distinct effect on membrane fluidity, lets the fluid exchange. At high temperatures, cholesterol interferes with the movement of the phospholipid fatty acid chain, making the outer part of the membrane less fluid. So under high heat, guess what happens? It stops things from coming in and reducing the permeability of small molecules. At lower temperatures, okay? Now before I go on, I want to go back to that last sentence. Making the outer membrane less fluid and reducing the permeability to small molecules. Now come back for a second here, Kyle. I want you to think about this. I want you to think about the linings of our arteries. And all they talk about is that LDL penetrates. Well, you have circulating arteries all over the body. Why isn't there plaquing through every artery from the top to bottom, head to toe, if you live long enough? See, when you start to think that way, you're like going, okay, there has to be a reason. Let's go back. At low temperatures, however, cholesterol has the opposite effect. By interfering with the interaction between fatty acid chains, cholesterol prevents membranes from freezing and maintains membrane fluidity. Although cholesterol is not present in bacteria, it is an essential component of animal cell plasma membranes. It's essential, there you go, it's needed. Plant cells also lack cholesterol, but they contain related compounds, sterols, that fulfill a similar function. So I want you to think about this. I think we have the case that, that cholesterol is needed for the body, okay? But then what goes wrong? Why have they demonized it and stuff like that? Now let's go on a little bit more. Well, I want you guys to understand, we're talking about when you look at cardiovascular issues, the number one component is atherosclerosis, which for example is no joke. They can open the heart, they can see plaquing, they can actually even sample the plaquing and they can see a cholesterol that has oxidized. But that's not the only component that happens. There's also calcium. There's also macrophages. There's other immune cells. And this whole thing produces a foam, and then what it does, it starts building up a plaque wall. But then why is it doesn't happen through every artery of every area of every part of our body? Because you know why? Because there takes a specific thing that's going to happen. And guess what that is? Repair and regeneration of a wounded cell membrane. Now, once again, this was about 31 pages, and I want to show you guys something in just a second. So I can honestly tell you, if you were to ask my friends and my wife and my girls and stuff like that, at home, all of a sudden they'll see me just reading a bunch of stuff that way. I personally subscribe, pay for a bunch of journals on a regular basis, and because there's some that I just love getting, and no joke, and I can tell you the vast majority are immunological and actually hormonal based journals that way, because it's my two biggest loves. And so I'm constantly reading all the things that go on, and that's why I kind of read about a lot of medications that way, because they're always talking about medications trying to use and everything. But then also, as I'm preparing for some of these things for you guys, I'll be going on a little rabbit trail and I'll find certain articles. And I'm like, okay. And if you notice, sometimes I'll just put the abstracts up, but I go in detail. I usually download the whole article, I read the whole, and it could be anywhere from 5 pages to 30 pages based on what they do. I look at the references, I look at what their conflicts of interest are, and there's a lot of conflicts of interest. I don't know if you ever noticed in journals. They have to list them, and sometimes they don't, but the most time they do. And it's kind of interesting. So I just wanted to show you this. So I got this one, take a look. I paid for this journal. Cost me $40. Do you say now I put it in my arsenal, it's good, I'll have it for reference that way. But if you look, I actually just buy these things, okay? So I love the journalists that do this. I love the researchers that put out there. I have no problem paying for it. But see, I just don't look at the abstract. I go through this, I take my markers, I go through everything in great detail. And as you read research, and no matter what the area of field is that way, guess what happens? You can really get into detail and see, and they kind of give you their conclusions on it. Now, that being said, the reason why I pulled this one up, because I was actually going through some of the things that happened with atherosclerosis, and they talked about the repair and regeneration of the wounded vessels and the wounded cell membranes that way. So I want to actually, and they linked this article, so I read the article, it's fantastic. And that's one thing I want you guys to understand first. Let's take a look here. We're going to talk about from injury to regeneration. Vessels need to be damaged for this to happen. So I want you to think of it this way. I remember one time, this was probably my first house I ever had, and we had a garden. And I remember, putting the garden hose out that way and running the sprinkler out to the garden, and it working. It was fantastic. And then, for some reason, we get winter here, so I took it and put it in the garage. Things that. Next season, I put it out, hooked it up, and all of a sudden, sprinkler then. But then in the middle of the hose, there was like this little sprout that came out like crazy. It looked like a water fountain come up. I'm like, oh my goodness, what happened? Well, a little hole for somehow, maybe when I was putting it away, it poked the hose, and that started leaking out. So what I do? Went to my garage, grabbed my duct tape, wrapped it around, and guess what happens? No more leak. Everything flowed beautiful. Okay? Well, I want you to take that analogy and look at that's what happens with vessels. Because all of a sudden you have damage of the interior, it can be the endothelial lining, of the cell membranes, and guess what happens? Do you really think that your body wants to spring a leak? We know that if all of a sudden you get cut, or all of a sudden you actually have some major injury and your vessels tear open and things like that, thank God we have some major emergency situation that we can run to a beautiful emergency room and doctors are trained to try to close it up. But if it doesn't, you could bleed to death. If you made a cut big enough and the vessels can't repair quick enough or you didn't get to the hospital, could you bleed to death? Absolutely. Well, imagine that's the exception to the rule. The vast majority of vascular injury is actually very slow and at very small amounts. So for example, internally, which we can't see the injury happening, it can happen from radiation. It can happen from just chronic inflammation. It can happen from deficiencies in nitric oxide where there can't be a regenerative aspect of the endothelial lining, which is the thinnest layer lining of all blood vessels. And if there's damage to it, do you think the body says, we're just gonna let the sprinkler keep on going, let that sprout go out? No, that would create internal bleeding, pooling the blood, and that vessel would if it didn't repair, guess what would happen? You would actually have leakage on the inside, and it could turn out really badly. And so, do you think then that we need the components to actually repair these cell membranes? Absolutely. And what is one of those major things we need? Cholesterol. See, maybe our cholesterol levels go up when our body says, hey, we have damage to cell membranes all over the body, including the arterial system. So can you develop plaquing in other parts of the body besides the vessels? Absolutely, you really can. And if you look at all the organ systems and the inflammatory things that can lead to some damage of those vessel linings, the endothelium, what is the number one organ that actually takes the worst effect of inflammation? The cardiovascular. And both men and women that do it different things. And what's cardioprotective to a woman is also different than what's cardioprotective to a man. And that's why, once again, we all know this. We know that estrogens are extremely cardioprotective for women. Can it be cardioprotective for men? Yes, but just at a different level. And we have other mechanisms that way. And that's why you see that women, once again, in menopause have a higher rate of cardiovascular disease. It's really sometimes not even based on their age. It's based on those levels. That's cardioprotective. But see, if we do have some injury, and we can have a massive injury that could come from some major trauma. You're hit by a car, you have a major cut. But the vast majority of our injury is slow and small, and so therefore the body over time starts to plug those holes. So if you see right here, you have some injury, there's some vessel, okay? Well, guess what happens? Macrophage, dendritic, smooth muscle, endothelium, and stem cell derived from foam cells in atherosclerosis. So once again, another journal that I downloaded for everybody that way and put it your reference in there. They actually allowed the whole journal to be published. It wasn't, didn't have to pay for it this way. And it's a really good article because what they talked about is when there is damage to the lining, there is a response by not only the cardiovascular system, but the immune system, the repair system. And if you ever think this way, one of our repair processes is an inflammatory response. If you have any damaged tissue, there's an inflammatory response, and it recruits blood cells, immune cells, proteins, but let's take a look. Here we go. There has to be clotting, okay? And then we're gonna see other cholesterol components like lipoprotein A helps clot and repair the issue. So let's take a look. Atherosclerosis is an inflammatory disease depending on a buildup called plaque of lipoproteins, cholesterol, extracellular matrix elements, and various types of immune cells and non-immune cells on the arterial wall. Okay, let's stop right there. Kyle, come back to me. So I want you to think about this. Plaquing also is calcium. That's some of our elements. Plaquing exists with, once again, lipoproteins, so not just cholesterol, because lipoproteins are different than cholesterol. Can they be combined? Yes, but they're different. Extracellular matrix elements, that's including calcium and other proteins. Various types of immune and non-immune cells that exist to produce the plaque. So I got a question for you. Why do we just focus on cholesterol? If plaquing comes from cholesterol, which it's much more than that, why are we isolating one of the components? Why, if we built this wall, why are we looking at the whole matrix of plaque? Because I have a different theory. Instead of demonizing cholesterol, why don't we demonize the macrophages? Let's go back to that research article. Let's go back to that. Kyle pulled it out. Why don't we demonize the macrophages? Why don't we try to get rid of and suppress those? Why don't we suppress the dendritic, which is the immune cell? Why don't we get rid of the smooth muscle? That all these things that contribute to it. See, you're like, oh, that's really stupid. It makes no sense. But that's why when I look at going, you're demonizing cholesterol, which you know what? Are macrophages essential for you living a good life? Yes or yes? Okay. Well, but wait, it creates. So cholesterol gets into an artery after it's damaged, but really it's an immune cell that gobbles up and produces a foam and really spits out the plaque. Why don't we get rid of those guys? Because they have other essential roles. So could macrophages be demonized the way they demonize cholesterol? If you look at it that way, absolutely could. But you don't sit there and go, we just got to do everything we can to reduce your macrophages because then there'll be less foam cells and we'll have less chance of building up plaque. Which is true. Which is really true. But you'll just bleed to death on the inside. See, I just don't get it. You Sam, I don't get it. And maybe, just maybe, help me understand this. Just maybe. The reason why there is an increase of lipoproteins, there is an increase of cholesterol, which actually 2/3 of all of your cholesterol is produced by your liver. Maybe it's recirculating because you do have a lot of damage to your body. You need new cell membranes. Kind of makes sense, doesn't it? And that's why if you ever notice when a person has high inflammation, you see a high lipid panel. What came first, the chicken or the egg? No, the high cholesterol caused this. Really? Honestly? When we get to statins, we've been lowering it for a long time. They lied about the stats, but on top of it this way, and I always love this. They always give you a matrix of, it prevents heart disease. You can't prove that. How are you going to prove that? Oh, our cold heart studies or epidemiology. that's like there's one factor that contributes to it. I can show you massive factors. So let's go on. Let's go back here. Plaque development and growth led to the narrowing of blood vessels, lumen, blocking blood flow, and eventually may lead to plaque burst and blood clot. Totally agree. The predominant cellular components of atherosclerosis plaque are the foam cells produced by, and you can't have foam without macrophages, which by trying to remove lipoproteins and cholesterol surplus also participate in plaque development and rupture. Although the common knowledge is that the foam cells derive from macrophages, study the last decade clearly show the macrophages are not the only cells able to produce the foam in atherosclerotic plaque. These findings give a new perspective of atherosclerotic plaque formation and the composition and define new targets of anti-foam cell therapies for atherosclerosis prevention. Oh, they just come at it wrong in every way. The review gives us consensus to describe the foam cells of different pedigrees and describes the main mechanism participating in their formation and function. Isn't it funny? So now what happens is this: so like, well, cholesterol, and now what are you gonna do? Start doing things to affect our macrophages? When I read that, that scared me. Do you understand? That scared me. I'm like going, now you're gonna start manipulating and inhibit other parts of the body? How is lowering cholesterol, if you look at all the negative effects that happen to this, you're going to go at a different target from this? Maybe you need a different perspective and a different approach, but let's go on. Introduction. Atherosclerosis is a chronic inflammatory disease depending on other factors: genetics, microbiome, pollution, stress, high blood pressure, smoking, sleep disorders, physical inactivity. Yes. Because those things can lead to the damage of the vessels. On the accumulation of lipoproteins which carry cholesterol in the arterial wall. The artery wall contains several layers. Yes, it does. And the only way we get to those is, once again, if you go through the initial layer. The most internal lumen layer, called the tunica intima, is composed of endothelial layer, connective tissue, and internal elastic layers. This media contains connective tissue and smooth muscle cells. The most external layer, called the externa, is composed of external elastic membranes, connective tissue, and fibroblasts. Here's the cool thing. The onset of atherosclerosis and other cardiovascular disease states from a hemodynamic, inflammatory, or lipid protein exposed injury. Oh, do you see it right there? A lipid exposed injury results in loss of integrity, homeostasis, and barrier function of the lumen endothelial lining. So I want you to think about this. So therefore, as you saw from, there has to be some damage. And I agree, there's factors with microbiomes, there's factors of pollution, stress, high blood pressure. I totally agree that high blood pressure can significantly damage an artery. I totally agree with that. But then you're going to look at certain kidney issues and other issues that lead to high blood pressure, deficiencies, salt, and other things. And I'm saying salt deficiency and everything. But so therefore, now watch this. Do me a favor. I want you to imagine this. I want you to imagine a hose. And if we can expand that hose, a lot, you would start cracking the inside of that lining. Now, if you stretch it enough, you could spring a bunch of leaks. And I think what happened within my hose, my garden hose, because back then, I didn't have a lot of money, so my garage wasn't heated. Now my floor is heated and everything's great. But anyways, here's the thing. I believe that when I put the hose in the garage, I believe that, guess what? There was some water in that hose. I was wondering, I wrapped the hose up, hose worked great, I put it in my garage, I pulled the next season, and the first time I turn on the thing, there's a leak. You know why? Because guess what happened? There was probably some water, and the loop was at the bottom, and the water concentrated in water, and it got very cold in my garage. The ice expanded and cracked the hose. And so the next season I did that. So I agree with doctors looking at high blood pressure. I 100% agree. Because now if there's some cracks, I believe that the circulating lipoproteins and cholesterol now can make it into the arterial wall to try to repair, and the immune cells come in and go, oh my goodness, I gotta create a foam and I gotta do this, and absolutely. And because all the factors that led to that were never corrected, the plaque continues to build up. And then the cholesterol circulating can now adhere to the plaque, and the high circulating cholesterol, I believe, can accelerate plaque growth, and there's a problem. See, so if you do have cardiovascular disease, I may want to keep your cholesterol a little bit lower. See, now, wait, now, Doc, you're coming to the middle. You're saying, no, just understand. Because when you do have a plaque formation, you have more chance of circulating cholesterols affecting that plaque growth. You say, Em? So the best thing is don't get it started in the first place. And if you do, there's things you can do for that vessel repair to actually minimize that plaque buildup. But let's continue. Let's take a look here. See, and this is the foam cells that come inside. What is the origin and mechanism of foam formation? See, look at the highlight plate. The endothelium of the healthy arterial wall forms a tight barrier, permeable only to water and small molecules below of 6 nanometers in the diameter. Large molecules are transported across endothelium via a transcellular transport called transcytosis. And the reason why I bring that up is this. Just because there's circulating LDL particles through the blood doesn't automatically penetrate the wall. There's mechanisms, and we need that to transport, but you're not producing a foam cell because you have cholesterols that are going to pass during certain times, and it takes a very small molecule. Now, do you understand? I always laugh about this. HDL is protective and LDL is not. Do you know which is smaller as far as particle size, LDL or HDL? HDL is a lot smaller. So just based on size and permeability that way, HDL would pass through arteries more than LDL particles were. And see, that's why I kind of laugh if you look at the structure of it. So let's take a look at this. See, so really what happens is you have injury, then you have the clotting, and you have the cholesterol and plaque buildup. I totally agree with it. And it should say cholesterol, other elements, macrophages, dendritic cells, and other factors that do it that way. Don't demonize something that's essential and needed. Now, you know what scares me? If you can see on that plaque buildup right there, now high circulating cholesterol can add upon it. So you need some regenerative aspects of your vessels to try to reduce your plaque buildup, which can be done. And in the medical field, they don't have anything like that. And I totally understand that. So therefore, you need to actually work with people that know how to do that. So help me understand just from right here. So does cholesterol cause problems or respond to the problems? And then when there's problems, can cholesterol contribute but not a cause? So let's take a look at the types of cholesterol to understand this a little bit as we build upon this over the next couple weeks. If you look at this, there's types. There's multiple types, but they're lipoproteins which form in different types. LDL, often referred to as bad. Okay, here's what happens. Can any of you guys eat the lipoprotein LDL? I know Stephanie and Mike are here, and Stephanie gives me that, look like, what the heck are you talking about? And once again, and they have expertise in lab tech. And it's kind of funny. No, you can't eat LDL. Do you know what makes LDL though? Your liver. So I got a question for you. When did your liver, just in its general normal function, start making bad stuff for your heart? See, that makes no sense. Now, if there is high circulating LDL with a bunch of triglycerides and cholesterols in there, and you're passing through a plaque, could there be some attachment? Yes. But what came first, the chicken or the egg? Okay, here we go. High levels can lead to plaque buildup in arteries, increasing the risk of heart disease and stroke. They just act like just because there's higher circulating levels, it's an automatic for it. That's not really true. High density, also known as good, helps remove excess cholesterol from the bloodstream and transport it back to the liver. VLDL contains a high amount of triglycerides, which comes from sugar, and contributes to the buildup of fatty deposits in the arteries. Triglycerides, another fat in the blood, often measure along cholesterol levels. You're right. See, LDL is a low-density and high-density lipoprotein. They're carrier molecules because fat-soluble things do not transport in the blood well without actually having a protein attached to it. And so therefore, when we look at this whole thing and what I want people to do, actually, especially during the seasons where they can become a little bit more inflammatory, people have a little worse habits during the holidays. So I want to show you some things that you can do to, once again, support the lining of your vessels. And so in my world, we're going to give things that are going to be more regenerative and help with these things, okay? So let's take a look at some of them. Supporting the endothelial lining of blood vessels is crucial for cardiovascular health. Several herbs are believed to have beneficial effect on endothelial function due to their antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, vasodilatory properties, and here are the notables. Number one, turmeric. Love it in every single way. And I put all the benefits, and here's the one thing I want to show you. Improves nitric oxide availability. Nitric oxide is essential. It's actually a gas. It's essential for regenerative of the epithelial lining and function. 2, garlic. Man, love me some garlic. I tell people I take a bulb once a week, and I just consume it that way besides having it on food on a regular basis. Guys, you see me do this all the time. Number 3, green tea. You know what I'm saying? Green tea. The catechins, the ECG, the EGCG, the component. Remember I talked about there's bioactive components in turmeric and garlic and also in green tea and other herbs that are fantastic. Once again, nitric oxide reduces the oxidative stress of vessels. Number 4, ginkgo. Once again, there's terpenoids and flavonoids. It increases blood circulation and protects against oxidative damage of blood vessels. Look at number 5. Every woman just smiled. There's chocolate. Cacao. Enhances nitric oxide production, improves blood flow elasticity, endothelial health. Your processed, highly sugared, processed sugar, chocolate does not count. There, I talk about ashwagandha so much, one of the most researched herbs in the world. Actually, it reduces stress-induced endothelial dysfunction. Thank God, in the month of December, no woman will have any stress. As every woman in the room and guy just laughed. Take your ashwagandha, okay? And the highest herb with the greatest active compound of resveratrol is number 7, Japanese knotweed. It improves endothelial function and reduces oxidative stress and enhances nitric oxide synthase. I love Japanese knotweed. I take it every single day. I don't take processed resveratrol. I take the whole food form of Japanese knotweed. You've seen me take my supplements and stuff like that. And I'm so happy. I just had a pernuval scan, which is a full body MRI, looking at all the arteries, looking at whole things this way. And guess what happened? I had some degeneration on my C5 because I had a sports injury when I was in wrestling in high school. Still maintain it really well. Thank God I have wonderful chiropractors and things I do to maintain it that way. Cardiovascular, perfect in every way. And every one of my family members, from my grandpas and some of that, have suffered massively from cardiovascular issues. So I'm very, very sensitive when it comes to the keeping cardiovascular health in the vessels and stuff like that. So these things are what I do on a regular basis as I'm doing the things I know that are going to help with repair and stuff and keeping the injuries down and minimized. My blood pressure is perfect. Do I think blood pressure should be measured on everybody? I do. I love that when people get their blood pressure measured. Now, I do disagree with sometimes how they measure it because really most of the 120 is based when they're laying down. It's not when they're sitting up, okay? There's actually a test to change your blood pressure. Lay down, sit up, it's called Reglan's. Your actually blood pressure should jump up by a certain millimeters of mercury. So why are they basing it on laying down and you're actually just whole other topic, okay? But the idea is this. All these things contribute to when I look at cholesterol and go, oh yeah, I look at all the essential stuff, right? When I look at, oh, now there's a problem, it can contribute to certain things, so we need to protect those vessels. We need to make sure. Now, you may be in a state where you already started atherosclerosis. Well, then guess what? I'm going to cover that in the future, what you should be doing, because then you have to be a little bit more concerned about your circulating lipoproteins and cholesterols. And you might be somebody like me over here that can actually make sure, and believe it or not, and when my lipid panel is extremely good. But I'm also doing everything to support my liver and support my vessel health. And so therefore, when I actually have a calcium score and an MRI and a full body MRI and stuff done, and they look at my vessels and they see no calcifications, they see no foaming and stuff like that, that's a beautiful thing. And do I do those labs here? Absolutely not. Go to every hospital. You can get a calcium score. They're all over in big cities. You can get a full body MRI scan. I went to one in Chicago. It was a fantastic place. I had a great experience. You had to sit in there for 90 minutes. And stuff like that. They went from head to toe. And the cool thing was they had the thing you could watch a movie where you're doing it that way. So I passed and I watched Mr. Deeds. It was kind of fun. Anyways, so that being said, we're going to get to our giveaways and stuff. And so we're going to turn it over to Dr. Bryce, Aaron, and Christy.
That was a lot of fun.
That was crazy. You guys are so interacting. It's like, whoa, we got to keep up with it.
I'm glad we've got
today.
I'm
Yes.
glad we've got weeks and weeks left so that we can, if we missed you this week, keep watching and interacting, okay?
Yes,
we got
definitely.
lots going on for sure. So, Also, the terms and conditions for our giveaways are on the ADP website, but here we go. We've got some new patient giveaways. I'm so excited to give these away. Terry Engelke, D. Kohut, Miracle 8799, Alyssa Jean Bender, and Jackie Benke. Be sure to email giveaways@thewellnessway.com to claim your new patient appointment, and be sure, if you have one of those fun handles and names, to include your real name so we can get you set up. So we're so excited to have you on your journey.
Awesome. And we did actually add some things here. So rather than just giving away 4 more new patients, we're also going to include a test read appointment as well. So you can get your labs, and we'll go over those labs with you, get you a plan. That one will also be included in here. So I actually have 4 of those to give away today. So first one I have is Rita, just Rita. So Rita, congratulations. And it is just Rita, okay? Then we have Lewis 1996, Ashley N, and then another handle here, so McDevitt_Sarah Lee. So all of you guys, make sure to send your email. You're gonna get that new patient appointment and a test read appointment for you guys. So congratulations, and we look forward to doing that.
And as far as these bundles go, we're gonna grab a couple of the supplements, some of the merch, and some chocolate, and 6 lucky individuals will be getting these bundles. I know there was a lot of excitement about the bundles today. So we have Blake Kozicki, the Lindsay Burgess, Jessica Terry, Shelly Kay, Tammy Parrott, and Kathleen Rentz Walmo. Yes.
Close enough.
Yes.
Close enough as we're gonna get there. And then, so we actually do have one more.
One more.
Okay, with all the immune system stuff, we figured, we're chatting up here, we're like, we should probably give away a lab, okay? So we decided that we're also going to give away a Wellness Way immune panel. And the winner of that is going to be Brenda Wegsheed Fisher. So congratulations. So that's actually one of our custom panels here, looking over all your different immune system cells. So congratulations on that. Make sure you guys all send your emails to giveaways@thewellnessway.com.
All right, thank you, everybody. And yes, I did my impression of Whoopi and changed my outfit here and stuff added on that way, except for I do a lot better on The View than she would, but anyways, we're really good at that. So that being said, Merry Christmas to everybody. And what we're gonna do now is we're gonna move into our last 10%. And speaking of immune panel, okay? Now remember, during the last 10%, we shut down all Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, even though because of what's changing politically, we're getting less censored. We still get censored, but we get less censored. And YouTube is still a little crazy, but we're gonna work on that. But the idea is this, is we're gonna go over to just the platform, because I'm going to cover and show you with a person that got a therapy, let's call it a treatment during the pandemic, and then got some boosters, and then end up in a Wellness Way, and we'll show you what their immune cells were like, and then they assume that they have HIV. Let's go to our last 10%. See you guys all next week. That don't jump over, but jump over to adp.thewellnessway.com. It's on our website. We can't be censored. All that stuff comes up. Guys, remember, we have interviews. We have so many things on our TW Plus, our private page. You can still get a couple months free by going there, typing in I disagree. We have a lot of uncensored content. We have articles, we have videos, we have everything. I do a question and answer in there privately. I go a little more detailed in these things. We have exclusive discounts for people that are part members that way. But talk about this way, get somebody that for Christmas, okay? These things, once again, give you great information that you need to do in order to actually make your health great, and excited about it. And always remember, guys, this whole month, we are going to be giving away $25,000 of stuff every single week. Congratulations to all the winners. And we're still in our Christmas season, so if you're watching this on TW Plus, it's separate 10%. We're in December and doing our giveaways. So continue to watch all in December. So let's say you're watching this in February this year, because you now became a TW Plus member. Well, guess what happens? Every December we do a ton of giveaways every single year to give people free for during the Christmas giving season. So guys, remember, as we do those wonderful things, we do it so we can stay healthy. And of course, we fight politically massively to all this stuff so you can stay free and make your own choices. So God bless you guys. You guys have a great week. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss a single video or live stream. Each week on a different perspective, we bring you the most cutting edge information on health, you won't find anywhere else. For more information on this topic, please visit our website. A Different Perspective offers life-changing information and resources to share and explore. A Different Perspective is leading a health revolution.